Against Two.
This is Bleach Bangs Music, and we are sitting with Bob James, guitar player of Silent Theory. How's it going, brother?
Doing outstanding. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I think we actually have a nice day going on here in Oklahoma, so it's something to be said.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Can you give us a little insight on how Silent Theory came together?
Yeah, so Mitch, the drummer, and I have, we met, I don't know, like 10, 11 years ago. Well, actually, I guess longer than that. Uh-huh. But we immediately found a mutual thing with music, and he was playing in a band at the time, and so I started playing with that project. And, over time that evolved into what became Silent Theory. And so we brought in his brother Scott and eventually his brother George. And then we've, kind of worked our way through a couple singers, but we really have put the hours in and, experimented with a few things that have, not turned out as well as we hoped, but we really feel like we're firing on all cylinders now. I think bringing Dakota in really was kind of like the catalyst that pushed us from like something good to something great.
That's really cool. That's really not how I thought you guys formed. I thought the brothers were all together as like a gang, and brought you in and went, all right, let's initiate him.
In some respects, it was kind of that way. I mean, it's a very musical family, with the exception of their sister. She's an accountant. She has zero interest in music. But yeah, I mean, they all picked different instruments carefully growing up and stuff, and so they grew up playing music, and so there is that kind of unspoken connection when we're playing and stuff like that. They always are kind of in the same place. Right. Yeah, I mean, as far as like Silent Theory goes, it was kind of an odd order as far as bringing them in.
That's really cool. That's really cool. In my mind, I just thought it was the three brothers, and they are auditioning other people, but that's really cool that you and Mitch worked together and then you kind of brought them in.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we were playing shows as Silent Theory for almost a year before we brought George on a bass.
Wow.
Yeah, I was the original bass player, and George is a far better bass player than I am. Plus he plays piano, so that's a nice upside.
So, what song gets the biggest crowd reaction, in your opinion?
Honestly, I think these days the biggest reaction is probably our first single, Fragile Minds.
I was thinking that's probably what you were going to say.
Because that's one of those songs, like, I mean, when we write songs and record them, like, we're a big fan of them. Like, when it gets to the end of that process, like, we're really happy with where it is. But we could not have been, like, we couldn't have expected the response that we got from Fragile Minds. Like, it just really, like, reached a large group of people, and, like, it really seemed to speak to a lot of people. And so, like, we were just overwhelmingly happy with how that turned out. And so it always gets pretty good reaction at shows and stuff.
Nice. I can see that because it's got so many elements to it. I mean, you have keyboards, you have it's just so off the charts. I mean, it's everywhere, but it's so it just grabs you. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also tried to put together a video that we thought would tell a really compelling story and that we thought was relatable and stuff. And turns out it was a lot more relatable than we anticipated because we've gotten a lot of overwhelmingly good feedback from people. Just like, this video really I can identify with the story that's going on here in one way, shape, or form. And it's really cool to hear that we were able to have an impact in people's life.
That is awesome. So what do you prefer, the intimate clubs or the festival settings? I know you guys have been on the festivals. I've seen you at a couple of festivals, Rocklahoma and then up in Las Vegas. But what do you guys prefer?
I don't know. I don't know if I really have a huge preference one over the other, because they both bring such different dynamics, both on the fan side and on the production side and stuff like that. But I mean, I think because there is a certain amount, like when you're playing a smaller room, like it feels like a huge room when you get a lot of people packed in there and stuff, and like when the fans are engaging and really having a good time, it makes it a lot easier for us to have a good time. Because I mean, that's a large part of the reason why we do this, is because we do enjoy it. We like sharing those 30 minutes or so with people. But the festivals offer an opportunity to just be a part of something we're like, much bigger than yourself. And like last year, for example, we were down at Rocklahoma, and it was so cool to see something of that scale, because there was just like, so many thousands of people there for one purpose, and it was just to celebrate rock music and have a good time. It was just really awesome to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah, and I bet you got a whole bunch of different fans out of that. I mean, people that were like, "Who's this? I'm not sure." Well, let's just watch them. Who the?
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that one in particular, we actually had one of the crazier fan stories, I think, from our history. We played the show, and then we were hanging out by the merch table, and there was a younger female fan who came up and was a little nervous, and her dad was kind of there with her, and we sold them some merch, took some pictures and stuff like that. And then the next morning, she sent us an email, and she's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry for being so awkward or whatever." She's like, I really, really love your music and stuff. And she's like, "My dad and I drove down from Canada, and I'm having this really big possibly life-altering surgery next week, and I was really nervous, but now I feel a lot better having gotten to experience a really cool festival." And that was really heavy, but it was really awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
This girl drove from Canada partly to see us, and it's like, well, I mean, that wasn't a short drive down to Oklahoma.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was one of those. It's kind of a validating moment. It's like, all right, we're obviously doing something right.
Love it. Well, you guys have been on our radar. I mean, you've been on my Spotify playlist since, about 3 years ago is when I first heard of you. And it's just, you're actually on every one of my Spotify playlists.
Oh, man, we absolutely appreciate it.
I have 4, and you're on every single one of them. It's really hilarious. But but I really love you guys. Is there a full-length album in the near future that you could talk about?
I really hope so. I think there is. We are currently writing and getting ready to go record some stuff, and we are very much album people. It's just we like to buy CDs and vinyl and stuff like that, and I like to sit down and listen to an album start to finish, and so that is always our goal, and I think that we will be able to accomplish that. But at the same time, we also don't want to force it. So if we only have 6 really solid songs, we will release an EP. But I think the goal right now is to release a full-length album and have a lot more promotion to go along with that.
No, I totally agree. That was kind of my next question. Do you guys prefer EPs or albums? Because you've come out with this new video, and it's not on an album, right?
Correct. Yeah, we just released it standalone right now.
Exactly. So is that kind of the direction you're going, to see what the fans are thinking and try to dive into what the fans are wanting right at the time?
A little bit. We're always interested in what kind of feedback we're going to get and stuff like that, because, we're as interactive as you can be in the business. We try and respond to every message we get on social media, and we frequently interact with comments and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, we obviously want to make a product that people are interested in listening to, because I think there's, millions of ways that we could tell the stories that we want to tell. We just want to make sure it's also in a way that people want to listen to.
I love it. Well, Silent Theory is known for writing songs that have a lot of meat on their bones. That being said, what inspired Before the Storm?
First, I really appreciate you saying that, because that is very much a goal. Even when we were writing songs about silly stuff like partying and stuff, we've always valued, not just writing words to say words, having an actual story to tell.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. That's why you're on 4 of my playlists.
But this particular song, Dakota, I mean, I think in general we're very much just like inspired by the world around us. I mean, it's hard not to be with the access to like tech, having so much technology available to constantly give you updates and news and things like that. But we're very much motivated and inspired by like just the day-to-day things and just like the things that everybody's experiencing.
Right.
And so this one in particular, Dakota had just, seen one too many stories in his news feed about, somebody else dying of an opioid related like drug addiction, or like, just another story about how like, there's links between, big pharmacies, like, paying off hospitals to like push these certain drugs and stuff like that. And it's just, it's kind of a little bit of a broad thing, but at the same time, it's one of those things that it touches so many different lives. Like the thing about like drug addiction, especially like this, seemingly innocent like drug addiction, as far as like pills and stuff like that, is like it touches everybody. Like it doesn't discriminate whether you're rich or you're poor. Like, people go to the doctor and then it just, nobody plans on it, but sometimes it doesn't go well. And so it was just like, that was really the big inspiration behind this is, this epidemic that we're in, as far as like just this drug thing that has a grip on the U.S. right now.
That's awesome. I actually just watched a documentary this morning about that exact issue, and it was like, oh wow. And then I'm talking to you guys, and I was like, that's really ironic. So really cool. Really cool. But yeah, it's a mess, dude. We got ourselves into some shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like sadly, like up in our area, like I mean that's one of the things that you see, Idaho on the news for, like, as far as like lower education levels, which is sad. I think that's something that they're really trying to push with the newer administration in the state. But then also, like, one of the top stories you always see in Idaho is like, another drug related death and things like that. And it's sad, and it's gone on for too long. Yep.
I totally agree. Well, do you guys have any touring plans that you can talk about?
We don't have anything that we're ready to release just yet, but we are definitely working on that. Because that's kind of the goal, is to try and get this album finished up for like a late spring, early summer release, and then hopefully do some really solid touring in coordination with that.
Cool. Good stuff. So where can fans go to find and keep up with the band, as well as get Delusions and Black Tie Affair?
We are on all of the current social medias and stuff like that. I will say we are not as like Twitter savvy as some people, but we are out there. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can find links to all of that stuff on our website, which is silenttheory.com. And at that website, you can also find a link to our web store where you can buy some sweet merch. Christmas is coming up. We do ship internationally if that affects any of your listeners. And then, just stay in touch, because we hopefully will have some really big announcements coming as far as like tours and album releases and stuff like that. It should be a really exciting year for us.
Good stuff. I always love talking to you guys, because you guys are like you just make me so excited, because like I said, you're young, you're excited, and your music means something. And I just love it.
That really means a lot. I mean, obviously that's always that's our goal moving out. So I'm just glad it's coming across that way.
It is. It is. Well, thank you so much. That's all I've got. We are going to be looking forward to 2019.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Randy.
All right. I'll talk to you later, brother.
You too.
Bye-bye.